so overjoyed when I came into Umesh Prabhu's residence and was able to take darshan of Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani. And here also they are presiding over our evening program. And so I was reflecting on Lord Jagannath and his mercy that he's showing in ISKCON. We're going to read a little bit from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu shortly, but first I thought I'd share some thoughts on the mercy of Lord Jagannath. We've just come from Rath Yatra Mahamohotshav in Kolkata, and there I do some Sheva, maybe for the last, perhaps close to 20 years. I've been doing Sheva in ISKCON Rath Yatra, and I've always felt the presence of Srila Prabhupada in that festival, because Srila Prabhupada, he began Rath Yatra in Kolkata when he was 6 years old. It's quite extraordinary. Gopal Bhatta, how old are you? Yes. 10. You're 10. Okay. Who's around 6? This young gentleman. How old are you? 5. And your name?
Narottam Das.
Narottam Das. So that's Narottam Das. Yes, we met Narottam Das. Narottam Das. We're surrounded by Narottam. Priya, Narottam Bhajan, Narottam Das. So Narottam's 5. Now can you imagine Narottam was 6 years old, Prabhupada? And he saw the Rath Yatra, he saw the Malaks. They actually, the street, if you come from Howrah Station, I'm sure many of you have been to Howrah Station. And when you cross Howrah Bridge, actually there's nowhere to go. The traffic, there's one lane it goes and it swings around, comes into North Calcutta. Actually that road is the road, that's MG Road. And that used to be called Harrison Road, and just a few, perhaps a kilometre into that road is where Prabhupada grew up. On the right hand side is Gundicha Mandir. And just on the corner there, actually, when you're swinging around that corner, as you come up Howrah Bridge, first you turn right, you come in, and swings around into North Calcutta city. Just there on the corner there's a Jagannath Mandir on the corner, right on the corner. There's like a cha dokan, just right there on the intersection is the Jagannath Mandir. So along that street actually was where the Malaks, they held their Rath Yatra Mahotsav, and they had 3 chariots. It was the biggest Rath Yatra in Kolkata at that time, 3 chariots, and so you can imagine young Narottam, he's seen that. And Prabhupada, he would have seen the Rath Yatra a few times, so that at the age of Narottam, maybe 4 years old, 5 years old, 2 years, he's seen the Rath, he's seen Jagannath Prabhu and all the devotees, and then he had a desire to organize his own Rath Yatra festival. It's extraordinary at such a young age. One could have such a desire. And actually, we were here. We were in the course. We did Prabhupada's childhood. So Gaur Mohan Dey was such a father that he actually his desire was that Abhay become a devotee. Abhay and all of the sadhus that came, and he would feed 4 sadhus a day minimum. Can you imagine that today in Mumbai? Who's feeding 4 beggars every day in the house? That means letting them come inside, sit down and feeding them. Who's doing that in Mumbai these days? So anyway, our culture as society has degraded actually. 120 years ago, 130 years ago, so 125 years ago in Kolkata, you can imagine the aristocratic society in Kolkata. When Prabhupada, sometimes we think, Prabhupada, Kolkata, wow, what a place. But it wasn't like that when Prabhupada appeared there. It was the jewel of the British Empire, the jewel of the East. So you had all of the aristocratic Bengali Bhadralok. And the Bengalis, they're artists. The artists, kanike wachin Bangla, Bangla Matiji. Bengalis are artists. The paintings, the artwork, the drama. Satish Roy, is it the great playwright? Satyajit Roy, yeah, I mean famous. And all of the great philosophers. Prabhupada said actually what happens in Bengal is copied by the rest of India in those days. All the great thinkers, Rabindranath Tagore, and freedom fighters, Acharya Chandra Bose, and others, many, they were famous, many philosophers, thinkers, poets, artists, writers, and devotees. They were there. And then there was also the British. I mean, the British that were there in a strong presence. You can still wander through the suburbs around our temple of in Albert Road, our temple. That whole area there, you can see all the grand palatial buildings which are occupied by the British. I mean, and in Kolkata, the Charingi, you look at the buildings, I mean, there's no comparison to their architecture. There's ornate facades, and balconies, and pinnacles, and clock faces. It's such beautiful architecture. Some of the buildings are maintained, a lot of them are just run down. So you could imagine that in those days they would clean the street every morning, and there were no tin cha dokans all along the street. It was nice broad avenues with trees and boulevards and parks, and the churches, the big churches and parks, and I mean they designed Kolkata city. It's actually quite beautiful. I mean, you can imagine in Prabhupada's time, it would have been clean, everything would have been organized, the horse and buggies, clip clop, coming down the road, and you see in all the buildings, there's like the area the horses come in, and there's the stables. I mean, actually, it was at that time in Kolkata, it was quite a place to live. And Prabhupada was born in that height of the British influence in Kolkata. I mean, it was amazing. You could just imagine what a fascinating place, and stimulating, intellectually stimulating. And of course, they, all the devotees, the Gaudiyas were there, and other Hindus, and they weren't oppressed or anything by the British. They were just financially exploited, but in terms of their culture. But anyway, that's a long story. Prabhupada often discusses these things in these lectures, the experiences that he had. And the Rath Yatra ceremony there, you can imagine Prabhupada, and then he's organizing, 6 years old, he's organizing, wearing a dhoti. There it's hot season. It's hot season. Now in Mumbai, so much rain, always like this. It's amazing. It's actually very auspicious. So much rain. I'm looking out the window. There's a nakel gach. There's a tree. It's growing every day. I see it's growing like 2-3 feet. Amazing. The rain. So it's a hot season there, Kolkata, and you can Prabhupada. He's there. He's just wearing dhoti, and he's organizing all the other children to participate and build the Rath. Of course, his father, he supports him, builds the Rath, spends money. They get it painted. He wanted to organize everything just like he saw the pictures in Puri. The same colors, the same canopy. He requested all of the aristocratic ladies in the neighborhood to cook special items for Lord Jagannath, Shingara and Kochuri. Prabhupada like. In fact, one of his auntie called him Kochuri Mukhi, because he was always eating kachuri. And all the items of cooking, Prabhupada often mentions in his classes, he mentions Rajgula. You could do a search, statistical analysis. How many times Prabhupada uses Rasgula analogies? He often mentions Rasgula. Do a search and see how many times Prabhupada talks about Rasgulas. It's a Bengali sweet, very succulent, very succulent, Bengali sweet. Actually, I don't take that much Rasgula. My wife, she chastises me so much. I'm not taking Rasgula, she chastises me. She says, this is just pure milk, what is wrong with you? As good as. So they were cooking all Bengali sweets and offered Lord Jagannath, and Prabhupada was there doing the kirtan and the 9-day festival. And then they bring the Rath back and then Rath Yatra, Prabhupada. So for how many years he performed, not sure, but anyway, sometimes, some years he performed. And then he got into studies and whatnot. So then we always feel in Kolkata Rath Yatra, and Prabhupada was there, and it's the first Rath Yatra in India, ISKCON. First deities in India installed, Kolkata, first temple, Kolkata Radha Govinda Mandir. And then they had Jagannath also installed, Jagannath Prabhupada installed, Radha Govinda Mandir, Radha Govinda and Jagannath. It's like you can, Mahaprabhu, Anar Barshe, the time when Lord Jagannath was not in the altar in Puri, you could just imagine the depression that would overcome. Vyakul Hoya, what was that? Vyakul Hoya, Alalanata Giye, Gopi Bhave, Mahaprabhu, in a mood of separation of the gopis. He would go to Alalanat, and there see the four-arm form of Janardhan, a Krishna deity with 4 hands. He would take darshan, he would live there, he would remain there, just because it was intolerable for him to be in Puri and not be able to see Lord Jagannath. But even in Kolkata temple there, the half of the temple is closed with the curtain. It's like we're just waiting, when will Lord Jagannath come back? But then we go on we dance on the street in front of Lord Jagannath. There's one corner there. Those of you, maybe you know Kolkata, you've spent time in Mayapur, and you know Kolkata. There's one corner there at Dharamtala. It is the busiest corner, the busiest intersection in all of Bengal. The busiest intersection in all of Bengal. That's Charingri and I think it's, what's that road? Banerjee, Banerjee is the biggest intersection. And L&C Insurance Company, they have one of these, they own the building on the corner, a very old building. And then there's the Grand Hotel, and then there's Esplanade. Esplanade, in English it's called Esplanade. Esplanade, but in Bengali it's called Esplanade. If I go to the metro and ask for a ticket to Esplanade, what? Where's that? Esplanade. So, and that big corner there. So these 4 intersections, and then we come with Rath Yatra, and that place. There's never. Even I was thinking tonight as we were coming here, every city in India is the same, but in Mumbai, the car stops. The car comes to the intersection. At least cars stop here in Mumbai. The car stops, and we're sitting, and then immediately we're surrounded like swarm of motorbikes. It's like we never get a moment of peace. Anytime that, as soon as there's an empty space, there'll be someone and come and fill it up. It's just, I guess you grow up in Mumbai, you just come, you're just accustomed to it. But for me, I come from Australia, so you can't believe how claustrophobic that makes you feel. I once did the statistical analysis that Australia is a huge place, huge, so much space. And 25 million people. I think there's 25 million in Mumbai. More. Yeah. What is India? So 100 billion, 400 million in India. So you can do the statistics. That's for every one person in Australia, there's 600 people in India. That's what it works out to. So, can you imagine that you have the facilities and the space of 600 people? Can you imagine? You have all the facilities and the space of 600 people. That's how I grew up. And then I can't. You're sitting there and it's like you never get a moment where you can just just like some space. It's just like people. There's no end. There's no end. It's an ananta. Many years ago, we don't watch movies, but many years ago I watched this movie called The Zulus. It's interesting. the British in Africa, and there was a war against the British soldiers against the Zulus, and all the Zulu nations, they all combined together and they attacked the British army. There's a movie, you can see it. It's quite humorous because all the officers, they're all sitting there. They have like a little tent and they've got tea. They're drinking and the people are serving them. Oh yes, and what we're doing there, and the British officers, and there's the Zulus. They're coming over the range, and then they start firing them, and they're killing so many. But there's so many. There's so many that all of the British were wiped out eventually because they never ended. They killed them, but they were going with the spears. It's just like never ended. It never ended. So there's just a matter of time before their forces were completely overwhelmed. So I have to remember that. There's never ending. The people, they're never ending. They'll never. So many people. So many people. How I got onto that? Oh yes. So then we're on this intersection. So that intersection, you go there. It's so stressful. You know, you come out. I mean, you can't actually. The new government, ISKCON. We're not meant to talk politics and stuff, but the new government, they're removing many of the temporary shops on the footpath. Because you can't walk. They're all stretched out. They're like spilling out. Oh, the cha dokan and they make the noodles. They're frying on the footpath. You know, there's a whole setup there. There's 4 guys making potato and they're all cooking, whole cafe on the footpath. Isn't it? Then in Mumbai also you have this. There's a whole setup there. And they're just frying and people are walking and they're all eating. So you can't really walk on the footpath, and then on the road you can't go on the road. There's so much traffic. They just mow you down. So it's like we come on the Rath Yatra, and then the police are all there. There's hundreds of police, and they stop all of the traffic. And that whole huge intersection is there. And Lord Jagannath is coming on his chariot, you know, first Baladev and then Subhadra, and they're cruising, and the police are holding up, and the traffic goes for miles, a big long line of cars waiting. So there I dance on that intersection. I dance. You know, I step first of all in front of Baladev. I dance as he's coming. I dance, and I stay on that intersection because it's so much for me. It's just like a dream come true. That when you have it, people ask about, you know, why you become a devotee, you know, well, who can enjoy such a thing? That there's hundreds of police there and they're stopping all the traffic just so I can dance on the road. For about half an hour, actually. By the time Lord Baladev comes, and then Lady Subhadra, and then sometimes Lord Jagannath is long way back, like 10-15 minutes behind Subhadra, and then the police are holding all the traffic there, and I'm just there waiting and dancing. It's such enjoyment for me. It's the high. I have to admit, honestly, it's the highlight of my year to dance on that corner there in front of Lord Jagannath. So when you see the King of the universe, when he comes out, and this Rath Yatra time is especially merciful. He's merciful. Just like he came to ISKCON, we're reading there in Shamsundar Prabhu's book. Prabhupada also seemed to be surprised. It's amazing. Malati was there. She went to the gift shop. She acquired Lord Baladev. She acquired Lord Baladev. She didn't even know what the deity was. Small deity like this, maybe a little smaller. She got it from the Indian gift shop. And she didn't really know, but she was just somehow attracted. And so she brought and she showed Prabhupada, and Prabhupada immediately stood up and did the Dandavat Pranam, prayed his obeisances with great respect. So Prabhupada, it's not that there was a strategic plan that let's worship Lord Jagannath, you know, the first deities will worship in ISKCON Lord Jagannath. It was not like Prabhupada never had a plan like that. Practically speaking, you could say that Lord Jagannath came. Lord Jagannath wanted to be worshipped in the foreign countries by the foreigners, and he just appeared. And Prabhupada said, were there others? And she said, yes, go back and get them. So she went back and she got the set, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, and then she bought it, and then Prabhupada he worshipped. And isn't that amazing? I mean, I don't know, I'm not an expert in the deity worship procedures, whether Jagannath even requires to be installed. I'm not sure whether there's any installation. Like for Radha Krishna, for Gundicha, we do Pran Pratishta. Fortunately, I've been able to participate in 2 Pran Pratishta ceremonies that were organized by the potency of Sitaram Prabhu. First was, I think, Bhiwandi, I think maybe in the first, or Attapur was first. Yeah, Attapur was first. And we were there, so Radha Madhav in Attapur, Radha Madhav, and I was there for Pran Pratishta, for the opening. And Gopal Krishna Maharaj was there in Attapur. He was there in Bhiwandi, yeah. So in Attapur we installed, the Banu Maharaj was there in Attapur, Banu Maharaj, yeah. And we installed, and it's a wonderful experience actually to be there when a deity is first worshipped. And of course the deities, they'll be worshipped for 10,000 years. I mean, that's ISKCON. That's our prediction. And to be there when the deities are installed and worshipped, and actually you always feel a special relationship with those deities. That you feel that because you were there from the beginning of their worship, you'll feel a special relationship. And with your mercy, I'll be celebrating Janmashtami festival at the lotus feet of Sri Radha Madhav in Attapur after leaving Mumbai. I'll be going there. So there's a whole ceremony. It takes several days. Pran Pratishta, the deities are many mantras, many procedures, fire yajnas also performed, and deities are henceforward worshipped. But for Jagannath, I'm not even sure if such a thing is required. I'm not sure, but we never hear any description of any type of installation ceremony of Lord Jagannath in Kolkata. And Prabhupada began the worship. Radha Govinda, yes, but Lord Jagannath is just Rath Yatra. Just Rath Yatra. So that he's so merciful. He's so merciful. Prabhupada's writing, he's explaining to the devotees in San Francisco, where Lord Jagannath was first worshipped in ISKCON and first came. Prabhupada was explaining that Lord Jagannath, because Prabhupada was explaining in Jagannath Puri, that Prabhupada said, Lord Jagannath is very lenient. Prabhupada's comment, he's explaining to the devotees, Lord Jagannath is very lenient in his worship. And in Jagannath Puri, he's worshipped by all classes of devotees, even those who are not even considered in the Varnashram system. The tribals and the Shabaras, and they're all allowed to worship Lord Jagannath. And Prabhupada says that even he's so lenient, in Jagannath Puri they don't observe Ekadasi. They don't observe Ekadasi. And also Prabhupada said that he said that the devotees of Lord Jagannath, they eat fish. Prabhupada's commenting that Lord Jagannath is very, very merciful. He's very, very lenient. And Prabhupada was saying that he was implying that actually that's good. That's good for you people. That's good for you people. Like Shyam Sundar Prabhu, he was carving the Lord Jagannath deity. He would go out and have a cigarette break. And Prabhupada wasn't angry. Prabhupada said Prabhupada was a little, he wasn't angry, but he just said you have to get over this and you gradually reduce. Prabhupada said that. You gradually reduce until you can overcome. But he still let him carry on and carve the deities of Lord Jagannath. Isn't that amazing? Wow. So, Lord Jagannath is so merciful. Already he's merciful. Already by nature he's merciful. And when they installed, he made the big deities, he carved big deities, and then they installed in the altar. I mean, these people, come on, you think you know what is degraded. You think you know what has degraded people's sinful life in Mumbai, but you have no idea of the degradation that was there in the youth, in the hippie youth culture there. I mean, there was no regulation. Everything was completely on the level of what you would consider animals. Literally, I mean, even they didn't bathe, and the illicit interaction between the genders was just like, I mean, I don't want to be crude, but just like animals on the street. Literally, it was the mood. It was like, they were completely, there's no rules. It was the new society. It was this, there are no rules. This is whatever you want to do, you can do. It was like that. And these people are all walking in off the street, and these are the people Prabhupada was converting into pure Vaishnavas. And then they installed Lord Jagannath, and they're coming, I mean, those days the kirtan, the people are all, half of them are intoxicated. Half of them are intoxicated. Not on alcohol, other the psychedelic drugs. You know, so psychedelic drugs, the effect can go for hours and hours and hours. Hours and hours and hours. So they're coming in and they're completely out of their head, and then they're dancing and everything, and Prabhupada's, you know, he's there preaching. And he said how to worship Lord Jagannath. He said they do kirtan, and then Prabhupada said, oh, you have candles? You have candle? How they began to worship. You have candle, and Prabhupada said you light the candles, or can't light a candle, and then you offer to Lord Jagannath. He said you do circles, and you keep going till you're tired. We said, you keep going till you're tired, and then you hand the candle on to the next person. I mean, is that not far out? I mean, Prabhupada, you know, what a acharya, how he can see that this will please Lord Jagannath. I mean, no concept. These people had no idea. They thought it was a cool thing. I mean, even Lord Jagannath, you can imagine that these hippie people, they thought, you know, this is pretty, like, it's far out. This is God. It's like, for them, it's perfect. It's perfect. They'll come and see God with big eyes and everything. I mean, and then the devotees took Lord Jagannath out on the picnic, and Prabhupada said, no, once he's here in the temple, you don't take him out. He said, but on the special day, it's interesting, he said on the special day, on the Rath Yatra day, then you can take him out. Prabhupada said that. And then they organized Rath Yatra, and Prabhupada even, he drew a picture. You imagine where's Umesh? Where's Umesh? Imagine seeing the Prabhupada's hand-drawn pictures. Prabhupada made sketches. This is what it should be like, and so they had then Prabhupada saw the lorries, the truck. And Prabhupada said, so on the back, so then they made a canopy. Prabhupada drew pictures, many sketches he drew and showed Shamsundar. Imagine if Shamsundar had kept those sketches, Prabhupada's sketches. And so the Lord Jagannath was, I think it was three sides. Lord Jagannath was looking in three directions. Lord Jagannath that way, Subhadra that way, Baladev looking behind. Yeah, amazing. And then they went and they did Rath Yatra. Of course, now Rath Yatra in San Francisco is huge. 3 chariots, Rath Yatra, Prabhupada. Eventually they were organizing a Rath Yatra in 5th Avenue, New York. 5th Avenue, New York. I mean, that's the top of this planet. That's as high as you can get, 5th Avenue. It's called the Big Apple. If you make it in New York, that's it. There's nowhere higher. You've conquered the whole world. And Prabhupada was at 5th Avenue, Rath Yatra. And so he's already merciful, but at Rath Yatra time he's especially merciful. Rath Yatra time he's especially merciful because he's coming out and he's enjoying. They each have a chariot. They're not all squeezed onto the one chariot. Move over a little bit. They each have their own chariot, and offerings are going on. I dance for a few hours. I dance on the street. It's so nice. And then even dancing on there, you can't do any day. You can't do. People will think you're a madman dancing on the street. But in front of Lord Jagannath, it's the whole, the transcendental world that just manifests on the street there. and the kirtan. I'm talking about Kolkata Rath Yatra. It's so nicely organized. And there's beautiful lighting. You can see Lord Jagannath lighting on the rod. And the pujaris are there and they're offering, and people are coming, they're bringing, the enthusiasm with which these Bengalis come with their offerings. They come, take a big plates of golga and sweets. And there's people just on the road, and they have trays full of drinks. They have trays full of drinks. Like there's a lime juice, and another one, this jira, this jira drink, and they just come and they just hand you, and you just take a drink. And this year the devotees told me that Jananivas Prabhu and Pankajangari Prabhu, they like that jira so much. Where you take that jira. You don't need to worry about anything. You do, and then someone will come running with a jira, and you drink. And then, so he's particularly merciful. In fact, it is described that, and then they set up Gundicha Mandir. I'm not sure how if you've seen that, but it's like so many people come. In Kolkata, it's right there at Park Street Metro, which is like Park Street Metro. I mean, that's like prestigious Park Street, the most prestigious street in market in all of Kolkata, and then there's Metro there, Park Street Metro, and we're just 5 minutes from Park Street Metro. In this brigade field, which belongs to the army, and every year we go and we set up the Gundicha Mandir, and it's a huge thing. I mean, lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of rupees are collected in order to organize and build that. A huge thing. All the stalls are there. And Prashadam, and then it's a bookstore, BRC, Bhaktivedanta Research Center is there, all different ISKCON, Bhakti Vriksha, and Nam Hattar, and all different stalls are there, question and answer booth, and it's all built up off the ground because it's all muddy, the ground, the rain. And then there's the Lord Jagannath is there, and the 40 or 50 devotees are living there. 40 or 50 devotees, they come from all different temples in Kolkata. And they're living there for the whole period. They're all sleeping there and taking bath out the back. And every morning, Mangal Arti for Lord Jagannath. And then the people, they just pour in at Darshan Arti. The people, we have class in the morning there. And hundreds of people, they just walk in on the way to the office. They just come in, they see Lord Jagannath. And what to speak of the evening time, it's so packed. You can't hardly walk on the walkways. There's so many thousands and thousands of people come that would not usually go to the temple and see Lord Jagannath. But they come at this time and they take darshan of Lord Jagannath. Now the scripture explains that the result in terms of spiritual advancement, purification, that you get when you take darshan of Lord Jagannath in Gundicha Mandir. You take the darshan of Lord Jagannath in Gundicha Mandir. That's like taking darshan of Lord Jagannath in the temple 1,000 times. 1,000 times. If you take darshan of Lord Jagannath in the Gundicha Mandir. And so you go a few times, you've been to more than your whole life of going to the temple. It's like 1,000 times, that probably takes you 2 or 3 years. To see go see Radha Ras Bihari 1,000 times, maybe that takes you 5 years. 1,000 times. And then every time, when I go there, I go see Lord Jagannath 4 or 5 times every time. And but when I arrive, and before I speak, and then the evening time we go, I feel, for me, of course I'm a materialistic person, and but somehow or other we have some slight attachment for the Rath Yatra festival. And it's very important to me. It's very wonderful to be able to be there. And from beginning to end, we're there. And in the very before we go with Lord Jagannath, and we're there every evening doing some preaching. Of course, the Bengali devotees, the Bengali people, they like it when they hear a foreigner speak Bengali. Some extra entertainment. I was commenting to His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami that anything I say in Bengali will entertain them. What, speaking about Lord Chaitanya, that's kind of just like, this is like too much. You know? And this year we were playing our new little bing 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 bing. The Bengalis, they like the music as well. So it's such a wonderful festival. So I was reflecting on, and then when we come back actually it's quite exhausting. We were sick afterwards, you know. It's like, because it's quite a demanding to keep up the pace. Sometimes we have to speak 3-4 times a day. But I pray. Afterwards, I was thinking, oh, can I do this again? But now that my health is somewhat recovered, I'm just waiting. When again can I dance on the street in front of Lord Jagannath and participate and feel close to Srila Prabhupada. Feel close to Srila Prabhupada for participating in Rath Yatra in that way. In worship of Lord Jagannath, it's like, I mean, there's many festivals. We have many festivals during the year. There's Nityananda Trayodasi, Advaita Shaptami, Gauda Purnima, and then Janmashtami, Radhastami, so many festivals. And Lord Jagannath is there, but it seems like if you participate in Snan Yatra and in Rath Yatra, then that's Lord Jagannath he's satisfied. Right? He's satisfied. It's like that completes your worship of Lord Jagannath if you participate in Snan Yatra and then participate in Rath Yatra. And of course Mahaprabhu, it's so, Lord Jagannath and worship of Lord Jagannath was so important to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Every year he would dance. He would dance on the street of Grand Road in Jagannath Puri. And Lord Jagannath, sometimes the chariot would stop. And even King Pratapurudra Maharaj, he bought, first of all, great huge wrestlers. The hundreds of devotees were pulling. Oh, that's another thing about the Kolkata Rath Yatra. There's no motor driven or anything. It's all the original devotees are pulling. 6 kilometers. And the devotees are pulling Lord Jagannath chariot, just standing there, not moving. They're wondering why not moving. They're pulling. They bought the big strong wrestlers, the palace wrestlers, huge bodied men. And they're pushing, they're pulling on the ropes, pushing. Chariot not moving. Even King Pratapurudra Maharaj, he brought the palace elephants. And many elephants were behind the cart. And they're pushing, and they tied the ropes to the elephants, and they're pulling, and the elephant riders are beating them, go, and the chariot wouldn't move. And Lord Jagannath is simply sitting there watching Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dance. He's enjoying Lord Chaitanya, watching Lord Chaitanya dance. And then Lord Chaitanya, he came behind and he just rested his head on the chariot, and the chariots began. So these are just some of the more distinguishable aspects of Lord Jagannath worship and Rath Yatra, but to discuss the internal aspects, that's a whole other topic, and actually it's beyond my understanding to be able to discuss the internal aspects, but that's something also that should be understood and should be explored. So we had some things planned this evening to talk a little bit about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's some childhood pastimes that I wanted to reflect upon and again here. And so we're going to discuss those tomorrow evening when Varshana Mataji's place will be tomorrow evening. Yes, tomorrow evening. So we'll be discussing there some of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya in his youth at that time, and I think we've kind of covered the allocated time. It's almost 8 o'clock. We've covered the allocated time this evening. Just we wanted to discuss a little bit about Lord Jagannath being so. We were so enlivened to see the worship of Lord Jagannath. Who looks freshly painted, and Subhadra Maharani looks so effulgent here that I just thought I'd share with you my appreciation of Rath Yatra experiences. Is there any question? What's Rath Yatra in Mumbai like?
So here we have several temples. So in Meera Road, they have on the main altar they have Jagannath, Jagannath. So they have a very big Rath Yatra, and there are over I think 40,000 people on the street during that procession. In Juhu earlier we used to have 3 Raths, 3 chariots, but now because of the metro work, metro construction, so they just have one chariot. And so Jagannath goes from the school, that's where Jagannath ETs are, and comes to Juhu. That's pretty good. Earlier Rath Yatra in Mumbai used to be in January, when the weather was good. But now because of the Puri rules, so it's fun because it always invariably rains. So you get fully drenched during the Rath Yatra.
Of course, it's part of the program.
Yes, it's nice.
One time I participated in Juhu Rath Yatra many years ago. It was probably 20 years ago. I went with Janmashtami Prabhu and Bhakti Priya Bhagavad Swami. I think Sitaram Prabhu may have been in the temple in Juhu, so that was 20 years ago. Yeah. And one time I remember I was requested by Narottam Priya Prabhu, a special request by Narottam Priya Prabhu, which I couldn't refuse. And he said, I was in Attapur, where Lord Jagannath is worshipped, in Attapur. And I was talking something about Rath Yatra, and he said, "Oh, Prabhu, please come for Rath Yatra in Hyderabad. Please come, we'll book the ticket now." He said, "The ticket now." And I think I came for a day or a day or two. But it's hard to get me away from Kolkata, Rath Yatra. It's hard to get me away from that. Any question? Yes.
How many kirtan parties are there?
There's one kirtan party for each Rath. And the kirtan is nice. There's some devotees, some Russian devotees also are there every year, and they do kirtan. They have this like a car, like a truck, and the kirtan, they sit on the truck, and the loudspeakers are there, so it's a little easy for the kirtan party. Because it's quite a long. I mean, this year we began. There was a problem with the wheel on, I think, with Baladev's chariot. We were there at 1 o'clock for the Udbodhan, and the chief minister of Bengal, Subendra Adhikari, who was recently elected the chief minister of Bengal, he came and inaugurated, and he spoke, and he did, I saw with my own eyes, he lay down on the street and performed the full Dandavat, Namaskar, Dandavats, lying down, the full prostrate on the street. It was raining too, and he did it on an umbrella, and he lay down fully on the street in front of Lord Jagannath. So that was quite a astonishing phenomena to see. That was a historical event of the first time a chief minister of Bengal was laid down and fully prostrated himself on the street in front of Lord Jagannath. So he came and then left. He was there for half an hour or so. And then we inaugurated each of the lots, the little ceremony there, inaugurating. And you begin, and then, but the wheel on Lord Baladev's Rath was broken. Somehow the wheel was broken. And it was surprising to see, because it's so organized there, and everything is organized, and everything is functioning properly. I mean, everything you wouldn't expect it. But the wheel was broken, and we were what to do and everything, and then we're saying that they'll just take Lord Baladev, they'll just take on a truck or something, they'll just take him there. He won't go in the parade and everything. And then we heard, oh no, there's someone's coming, they're planning to fix the wheel. But it took several hours. So we began Usually we begin about 1:30, and we arrive at the Gundicha Mandir in the evening time, around about 6, 7. But this time it was delayed. We began at about 3 or 4 o'clock, and so we arrived at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, but it doesn't matter. I mean, people, it's just everything, you just lose. You lose your consideration of all of the usual people. They come for Rath Yatra, they dance the whole way. So many devotees. I mean, in Kolkata, there are a lot of devotees. They've been preaching for 40 years, Nam Hatta preaching, and different centers. We have 3, 4 centers, temples, and all around Bengal. Of course, they're doing Rath Yatra in all of the regional centers also, huge Rath Yatras in all the regional centers also in Bengal. But still, there's so many devotees that come, and the streets are packed with devotees. You ask me how many kirtans? Kirtans. It's so long from the beginning of Baladev's Raj to Lord Jagannath, and sometimes it's like several kilometers, 3, 4 kilometers, and kirtan is going on. I mean, you can't hear, once Lord Baladev goes, you can't hear he's gone, and then Subhadra comes. And people there, they sit and they're on their balconies, and they come out and they're always, they watch each of the chariots come past. Some of the little crowded streets there also, and the chariots are coming through. I mean, we take over the place, there's no doubt about it. So we can do some kirtan.
Yes,
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Jagannath Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna
Praise Atul Krishna Prabhu.